afternoon. Let us begin another panel. I can see that guests are still coming to this very interesting discussion, something that's so popular. Artificial intelligence and robotization, industrial revolution and its impact on regional development. This is our topic for today, and our guests will discuss it. And these are great guests. Janusz Cieszyński is the Minister of Digitalization, our special guest. Next to him, Dr. Przemysław Sękalski, head of the IT Center at the Łódź University of Technology and a specialist in different IT fields. Obviously, I only read a part of your titles. I have no time for that. Professor Przemysław Kubiak, the professor here at the Łódź University of Technology, Institute of Machinery and Vehicles. Professor Roman Szewczyk, Warsaw University of Technology, Łukasiewicz Research Center, the employee at the university and the Łukasiewicz Center, 20 years of experience in research and development in solutions for software using AI. And partially with us, the mayor of Będków municipality, Dariusz Misztal, who will speak about the local solution, his expectation from local authorities. Minister, let us begin with you. We are considering opportunities and challenges related to AI, and this is a broad question. But how can we use the opportunities, what we should be aware of, and at the legislation level, what is your concept? Well, good afternoon. I'm happy to be here at the forum for the second time. I enjoy cooperating with Marshall Schreiber, and AI. This is the hottest topic today in business, legislation, administration. And it's becoming still more and more pivotal. We live in difficult times because if you look at it, if you look at which countries, regions of the world specialized in AI, you'll see that the US and China are the leaders. The two places in the world where so much money is spent on artificial intelligence. We've heard recently about NVIDIA, the company that produces graphic cards for computers. Today, we use graphic cards to their system for AI, and the European Union, which some 2 or 3 years ago started legislation in AI, did not add as much to business. It focuses on regulations. For a country like Poland, it's a great challenge because on the one hand, we do not have technological companies comparable to Western Europe. And remember, top 15 technological companies in the world are 2 European companies. One of them is Saab, and the other one is ASML, that produces lithography equipment. That means no complex IT system can be developed without it. But if you look at companies that work with AI, there are hardly any European companies. That should be a red flag. Are we putting our stress properly? If we are absent from business, we will soon be out of science, because if we read about OpenAI, the creators of the GTP chat, we will see that although it's been going for some time, it's kicked truly off when huge money was invested by Microsoft. Where did Microsoft get the money? From business. If there is no money for that, there will be no money for directed future uses of innovative products. And we see the effects of that. So Western Europe does have certain capital. We have less. How to find your place in this? Well, I trust if there is a path for Poland, we should, enjoying our great pool of talents based off PISA tests, those that test how many mathematical talents are in a society, how many there are people that do not understand maths. So in absolute numbers, we have the highest number of mathematical talents in Europe, almost comparable to Asian states. We are at the same time a big country. On the other hand, the number of mathematical ignorance, we have few. On Estonia, we'll have fewer. So we are sort of predisposed to develop engineering ideas in Poland, but how to do it efficiently without capital, which we don't have. We should be champions of technologies that are being created, that come to us. 2 or 3 years ago, there was a conference about technologies. What would you hear? Cloud. Everybody was moving to the cloud. We are migrating systems. We are closing old server rooms. We recycle electro waste servers. Today, it's the AI, and just like then, I believed we should be champions in working out our solutions based on cloud solutions through which we could make money based on products invented in Poland. So, similarly, AI. We should be champions to use the models, the tools that are developed abroad. Why? Because if we build companies in Poland that make great products, that will allow the people to get through the global technological market, the people will have capital to create new businesses. That has happened in Estonia with Skype. The same happened in the Silicon Valley, where the PayPal mafia got money from selling PayPal to eBay, and from this money they created new innovative businesses. We should follow the path, enjoying this enormous human resource of people who can run the Industrial Revolution. Well, the human resource is next to you, and a great one. Gentlemen, is it a good outline of the challenges, expectations, and hopes of what may happen? Where are we? Well, good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me. Well, I would like to combine it with the previous session when Bogumił Zięba and Łukasz Stajuda said that it needs to be a Polish local business. If we sell our talents abroad, the knowledge transfer will go out. Yes, let us develop technologies, but here, locally, among our Polish companies. That is important. Our students, our colleagues who works in maths, physics, IT, they shouldn't be ashamed globally. They are desired. Even the open AI, as you mentioned, there is a Pole behind it. The Apple computers, Poles are there. The Alphabet company, there are Poles behind. There are lots and lots of Poles who do not originate from California, but they came from the world. Why? Because there was the money, there was the opportunity, and they grow. So how to use such opportunities, how not to waste this opportunity. We speak about lots of talents that left Poland because they couldn't expand here. They left, but they will be back if only they have opportunities to develop. I am an example like that. I went away. I worked in the US, France, Germany, but I got back here to Łódź, and I live here. So you can come back. There is just one question. What are your opportunities? In fact, you can work from any place in the world. The issues are where you pay your taxes and whether the capital you generate. From the scientific perspective, the companies that are rooted here in Łódź do want to collaborate with us. The external companies perceive us, well, you don't have money, well, you want help, no, we may move to another place. They do not have this feeling that they invest in a local technical university, no matter which city. They can go and invest at their headquarters or owner. So we are looking at a solution to have money here, to have smart money for the smallest companies that are small today. One of the biggest companies in the world today was established 20 years ago by 3 PhD students who ran their research within PhD theses. Only later a Polish woman came there and turned that into business when she was pregnant, and in maternity leave, she generated 80% of the company's revenue at the time. So we do have the capital possibilities, but people would go for an easy way. They will go to a big company, earn good money, and they don't think that if they work a bit more today for small money, for a fistful of rice, they could generate more revenue in the future. And we do have some unicorns like that, valued above 1 billion zlotys and established here. So it's a late remuneration. Minister and professor, regionally, we speak about Łódź, the Łódzkie region. So if you are sitting here, I trust the potential must be here. How to use it? Good evening. Thank you for the invitation. My colleague said it would be, well, difficult to supplement his words, but we can use it. We can create the spark that will ignite the process, create opportunities, create methods to keep the know-how here in the region, in the country, and distribute it to the whole continent. We should think of bringing the global world to us, develop AI here and distribute it abroad. If they use our potential, why can't we work from here for the world? Why indeed? Well, we can if we create support funds, we can sell the technologies. I believe we can work very well from our place with our technologies. Thank you, and if you could keep your mic closer. Professor, you represent the Warsaw University of Technology. It's different there, but the question is, I'm looking a bit for an answer how to make the revolution happen here in Poland. Not that we need to import things, but what we create here stays here and goes outside.
Tak, bardzo dobrze. Nawet kilka.
Też bardzo dziękuję za zaproszenie.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I know that it is best when panelists argue. Well, I won't argue because I fully agree with what the minister said, and I suppose there are no reasons to be ashamed of. What can we do to develop our databases, to develop AI. We need data. It does not develop through technologies which are known globally. The infrastructure is developed globally. The data are the key. What we cannot do in Poland, developing artificial intelligence, is to develop Polish solutions without Polish data. And this is work and support that should be achieved locally and nationally. I know that there is still the missing component of AI in Poland with Polish data. I would like to come back to the minister. There was a song saying that everybody agrees with one another, but will it happen like that? Yeah, that was a tricky question. What is it going to be like? You know, I will put a fly in the ointment and disagree with the other panelists. As far as data are concerned, where do the data for GPT come from? From the internet. We can say colloquially that the data was rented, was borrowed. Some can say it's a shame, one shouldn't do it. But the business world and successful business world is a collection of such stories. I remember when I was a little boy, my father gave me Bill Gates' biography. He was nearly dismissed from school because he wanted to improve his marks in the school's computer system. In my opinion, access to data proportionally to the Polish data resources, half of the data are on the internet are in English, so the potential is smaller. But some aspects can be used from different languages.
Powinno się założyć, że przy mojej wielkiej sympatii do
Much to my approval to the projects carried out by the Marshal's Office, I have to say that no project will satisfy the needs at such a level as the American venture capital. There is nothing wrong about it. I am fully convinced that what we lack is not talent, but the ability to transform concepts into products. The truth is that Poles were responsible for OpenAI success. We can assume that the 10 out of 50 creators of the OpenAI core team were Poles. That's fantastic news. Have you ever seen any of these Poles traveling around the world and meeting the decision makers? No, they sit in the offices, in the cellars, do their coding, and then Mr. Altman comes to the stage with a nice narrative, with high self-esteem, and if you whisper to him, just sell a vacuum cleaner, I'm sure he would be able to sell the vacuum cleaner to our Prime Minister. And that's good, because this is something we lack. Transferring a concept into a product combined with a lack of fear and lack of complex to go to people with it, saying, it's not perfect, but let's give it a go. The concept behind eBay, Amazon, Google, You know, it was a bit of thinking. Were these products perfect from the very beginning?
Czy to
Was it the same with GPT?
kawałek tego rynku? Nie.
Was it an obstacle to take over huge shares in the market? No. I would like to come back to the project from the Marshal's office that needs to be settled within 3 years. You need to show I derived a search engine, or I completed what I decided 3 years ago to do in the world where the first 100 million users of GPT were acquired within 2 weeks. TikTok needed 9 months to achieve the same number. The world is changing and we want to fit to these requirements. We need capital, wise venture capital, based on commonly available data. We've got venture market developed relatively well compared to Central European countries, and it has been developing. However, compared to the United States, there is no comparison. Where does venture market come from? From rich people knowing how to run technological business, who have their own money, not from insurance policies or bank deposits, but simply having huge money, willing to invest and able to support great ideas with their knowledge. Let me supplement. Components, basic components offered by GPT Chat, Amazon or Microsoft are great for us because we can learn on them how to create the products quickly, efficiently. Once we have done it and start selling it, we can optimize it because we are fantastic engineers, and then it will cost less. There are many examples. There is a Sunrise company from Warsaw and Krakow making various apps and marketing solutions. Żabka Nano uses Microsoft Cloud. During quarterly meetings, Microsoft says, listen, people, this is a great thing that can be done based on our cloud, Żabka Nano. Have you ever heard about it? That's a real success. They know how to sell chocolate bars and the cloud is behind. So it's Froggy Nano. Do you want to argue with me? If so, I would like to give you the floor. And if not, then I won't. During the previous panels in which I participated, I would like to say our PhD graduates design solutions like Żabka Nano. We can invest in competences. We need to have a new generation which is best. We should invest in someone like Altman who will sell the technology and who will help us sell it to everybody. You disagree with the minister, or you do agree? You say the same using different words? No, I think we should invest in it. We should keep the know-how here and not sell it abroad. Quite to the contrary, we should sell as much as possible, but keep the money here. Okay, so let's move on to the local government component. We talk about local use. We talk about solutions such as Żabka, but we live in local government. You're also facing the future revolution and how to use it. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I represent a public administration and local government. This is not a great role when we talk about business and money. local governments are not treated well. However, I would like to thank the minister, because we need to admit that recent years saw a lot of money allocated to technological development and ideas. Observing neighboring municipalities and local governments, I am negatively surprised. I am the head of a small municipality. I would like to thank Łódź University of Technology and Częstochowa University of Technology. We've been cooperating with the two universities. EZD. I do not have IT background, but I am surprised that so few local governments use it. Can you please elaborate what it is, what the acronym stands for? This is the way of collecting documents, recording them, and then distributing them according to a distribution list. This is something we've been already using. However, I have come across an idea together with my colleague from University of Częstochowa to improve the system. Considering the frequency of cyber attacks, we need to know that each document can be stigmatized so much that it cannot be copied. Every finger has its own fingerprint. Every piece of paper has its unique features. We are talking about it with the University of Częstochowa and University of Łódź. We want such readers of fingerprints to prevent forging of documents. AI will definitely capture it, and this is something beyond the capability of human employees. There are lots of such components. I can see a number of information pieces, incoming information pieces. Sometimes we know how to intuitively reject them, considering my conversations with other local authority representatives. I know that not everybody identifies the same level of hazard and risk. You have mentioned a lot of positive things about our specialists and experts, but knowing the specificity of local governments and just the mundane issue of money, of remuneration, what the answer is, you need to find a person who will be an aficionado of such solutions. I know I may sound proud, but we need such aficionados. This is the topic for future discussion. We need to force some mechanisms. Okay, so let's stop here. I will give the floor to the minister. First and foremost, can you improve the EZD project mentioned previously? Some local governments have been using it and others are waiting for it. What is your approach? I do agree with what we have just heard. I'm very happy that you are such a pioneer. My experience is that if one county leader implements it successfully, others will follow.
Ja pracowałem w samorządzie.
I worked for the local government, and it's hard to imagine what could persuade a county leader to deal with EZD implementation
Super, to właśnie
rather than dealing with infrastructure or roads. But if
wójtem, to musisz mieć dyplom z Politechniki.
we could pose such requirements and say if you want to be the county head, you should be a graduate of the Łódź University of Technology.
To nie jest to, żeby tam być technologicznie.
You don't have to be technologically advanced. Whatever you talk about, whether it's EZD, e-prescription, identity card, this is not rocket science. What helps you differentiate between successful projects and failures? It's all about good business. You need to know what you want to do and how you want to do. The county head says, I want to make my place safer and to protect documents. We are not able to invent it on our own. And you work in this area on the daily basis. So you are the best person to tell us what follows.
To znaczy,
I can see strong pressure of the government. You mentioned the aspect I have not mentioned. Generally, the mentality in local governments is just as you mentioned. Everybody expects a road, a beautiful sports facility, and a great school. Because technologies are somehow invisible. I try to delve into all these components. The minister highlighted the aspect which I often discuss with my colleagues, and they say, why are you doing it? It costs a lot and you can't see it. I would like to say the following. You mentioned roads. And you said what is dear to people's hearts. Dear are the employees because they are costly. You are looking for implementation of AI, and you can show the simplest solutions, the simplest applications. You could do exercise for university students to solve some problems using AI. What about an hourly rate at the local government? It's around 100 zlotys. Why do all organizations go digital? Not because they are aficionados of the solution, but it's because it's profitable. If some activities are repeated, they can be executed at much lower amounts. My first job was at Orange. It was in 2009. 30,000 people used to work there. Now 15,000 people. You can still call people, and it all works owing to IT. But once you call a helpline, you talk to a bot. And that's the answer, right? But somebody developed it, and it was definitely not a German person because they don't speak Polish.
No, it's a very good example because two things are here. One is that there are plenty of students who want to learn. On the other hand, who also suffers from the same problem. There are no teachers. There is great disproportion between universities and industry. That's why there is no stuff in between, and it's a problem for the next term. And the third thing that comes up here, there are plethora of projects of a small change. They do not require a revolution, but a small change in 3,000 municipalities. So let's speak about municipalities. The point is the problems are the same. And all types of automation in one municipality, the other municipality, a small center, can be copied. But to make it in the very first one, you need to have the first venture capital, go to your family, friends, or those who will not understand what we are talking about, but will give us the money. If there are micro grants for such projects that are without much restrictions, the money that is quickly spent, well, at least somebody will learn from it. I don't think you will only see strange things. One day you will see a project that is sensible and can be tested, whether in hospital, local authorities, administration. You can even control traffic. You may control how to run refurbishment on roads. These are systems to be improved, which is a good city where you have lots of things to improve in street repairs. It's good to verify which road should be closed when to prevent larger losses, not because somebody gets upset because of the traffic jam, but in clear money. You will spend your money in the car instead of making money. So, what is missing? I understand money is needed, easily accessible. My feeling is that big money attracts big money. When you reach certain levels, there is no problem at all. But as we do not have such funds that are seeded in thousands of ideas, so if you go to a restaurant, you say, I've got an idea, and the guy takes $100,000, you get it. But it happens in California. But in Poland, we have it. The funds that the Polish Development Fund activated from the EU money, the idea is 20% is the contribution by the investor, 80% is from the EU, so it works. But we miss another step. We are almost there, but if we want to get through, sell something in California, you need to have millions of dollars for marketing, and we do not have it. Because we speak no EU project will count marketing money as eligible. Well, we have top quality labs. We have people who know how to use them. But afterwards, this huge Uber technology, iTaxi, is losing, which worked on that. iTaxi loses to Uber because not because it's worse in technological terms, but because there is different money for promotion. Booksy made it up. I wrote that up. But the point is that there was an external investor who strongly invested. Polish funds, when they couldn't make it, foreign entered. From Warsaw perspective, what do you miss to commercialize, to go out? Micro grants. The minister speaks about huge money at certain levels. What's your perspective? Well, you can't disagree. At some stage, when you want to act globally, is highly demanding in capital. I know from practical experience that company faced barriers that were not of technological issues, that was about legal aspects, patenting, predatory patenting, fighting dishonest competitors. So no doubt about it. In Poland, there are but a few public funds for that. So it is a strong barrier, though I am still trying to look locally. It would be nice if Polish company conquer the Californian market in the US, but I believe there is still a lot to be done here in Poland, and still many solutions can be local. Well, we shall argue. I trust there is some misunderstanding when I speak at university in small range. It's not that my institute is better. Let's cooperate, but sell it to the outside. Let's solve our internal problems here. Our market is 40 million people, and there is place to test. Booksy tested that locally. Only then they went out. The fact is that when we speak of machine learning, our Polish learning will never win against English, Spanish, and Chinese. But we do not speak about the language. We speak about numerical data traffic. It's not data that is Polish. Every country will have the same problem. Calendar issues everywhere. All you need to do is what you can get outside. There is one element that we've discussed, that we need to show something unique for our country. We hear about AI. Europe has been thinking about certification for 3 years. Let's make the certification center as the first. We would lead the way, not a center that would be a place for conflicts between universities, but universities sign an agreement and build it. We don't care where it is, left wing, right wing, this municipality, doesn't matter. One center, everybody gets an access. If we quarrel, it won't work. Electronica, somebody mentioned that company. It can be well shared. I can use it 10 to 12, somebody else 12 to 2, and we all can use it. Because we've got good equipment and very well stored. About the expansion to foreign markets, well, I dare to disagree. Western customers are richer, more willing to spend money on innovative services. You mentioned transportation. I do not know the exact data, but I trust that a New Yorker travels by Uber more frequently than a Warsaw inhabitant by taxi. They have more money, and we need to bear that in mind. Frankly speaking, it's better if you are aware of the restrictions of the Polish language. But please have a look how Poland is changing. Look how many people in Poland we have who will understand our message in English. Not long ago, electronic components were not localized. It was all English. People grabbed it. It was intuitive. They made some mistakes, but they learned. If we want to think about having some capital, there is a gentleman who owned a chemist company with spice. He sold it. He made a VC fund out of it. Bakaland, another company. But usually we would need one more zero. These are the sources for the capital we think of. Somebody who will invest $50 million of their own to market our service in the US. Booksy did well in Europe. Now they are trying to conquer the US. I don't know how they are doing, but that is the ultimate goal. Why? Because they had to collect money to win the US. So let's do it, that we invent products. There is the live chat company, well evaluated, well operating, and it sells abroad. Skype was created in Estonia and it works worldwide. Moreover, sad as it is, per 1 million of inhabitants, we don't have that many unicorn companies. I wouldn't compare us to Estonia, but the Czech Republic, Ukraine, these are the countries that have more of it. Trust me. Let's put foreign technologies, but into the Polish brand, Polish idea. It needs to be associated with Poland, created here in this country, where you only combine together an engineer, an entrepreneur, a person with an idea, and a marketing specialist. I spoke to a person who runs an IT company and provides marketing services to different companies, but he went to Singapore. There is the market. There are the people who are ready to pay for the services as much as is needed. You will all know, as people working at universities, that your students should not be ashamed working for Google. That means foreign companies are ready to pay salaries per foreign rates. So to finance that, we cannot plan a development model for Polish market where we sell at Polish prices and pay Polish salaries. If we want to win the foreign markets, we need to make money abroad and pay foreign salaries. So we need to move from New York and Singapore to Bangkok. Well, we think how we can accelerate the local development. And it's good that a guy from Wrocław is in Singapore and the Bangkok mayor is thinking how to do it. Dear Mayor, if we speak of micro grants, slight innovations, concepts that will help you work, what is the opportunity? You run it, you implement it. You being positively crazy. You speak about mentality. It's not very easy. It is also a challenge in front of us. Can you see the potential? You have this consortium you were supposed to mention. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for mentioning Singapore, Warsaw, Wrocław. Well, there are many municipalities like Bangkok. The idea of mentality approaching local authority issues is a difficult topic. We are beneficiaries of governmental money, but I, as a passionate person, see the huge potential in micro grants, but how to build that in such a way that local authorities do not work out of passion, but they work per some model. Well, we would need to introduce government control over them. But when I speak to other local authority people, not everybody appreciates the role of AI. It's a very difficult issue for my staff because I can see Ms. X, how much time she spends on processing a certain topic. Something can be processed in 2 days and she takes 2 weeks. Then we speak nicely and I see that in the next case she improves. So there is a potential. Let me also add that I am quite an unusual mayor. I went to local authority from a private business. And a colleague of mine with whom I arrived here asked me a question. Please tell me, could I be a mayor? Let me say, he has 70 lorries, he deals in transport. I told him, well, you could be a mayor, but not every mayor could be a businessman. And there is the level of opportunism coming in. I do not want to judge. everybody focuses on different things. I believe that small Poland in Bentków, 3,200 people, self-presentation. When I came to the municipality 5 years ago, we were on the 11th place in terms of debt. Now we are on the second place in Łódzkie. In Łódzkie, out of 177 municipalities, we were on the 172nd place in terms of debt. Now we are on the 94th. So business mechanism can be translated into local authorities, but indeed I can see many things where AI could be compatible, but it will never replace the intelligence of mayors unless the government control will be by AI. I'm sorry, but I have to agree with you. I don't know if it's good or not. Doctor, the question is where to get the money. Well, we can deduct 1.5% from our taxes to any thing we prefer. Let's do the same with corporate tax and allocate 1% to any goal by the company. Then we would have no restrictions whether that's public money or not. We've got money. The same would happen if you had deductions, tax credits for introducing innovations. But if it needs to be an external invoice for generation, if universities have such an option, they can operate on the product list. Ever since I was a student, the universities have always applied for grants. The companies do not want to cooperate. There are some restrictions, legal, etc., different combinations. But if it is removed, and with taxation, if it's external money, you can do it. You have the money. It's not that difficult. I told it some 10 years ago to a minister. Then we created, explained Bridge Alpha, something good, and we pushed it through. Small changes. Let's make it a pilot program in one region, in one municipality, in one county. Let's see if it works. We've got. I'll take it. There is the first volunteering municipality. If I can join here, I didn't say, but when we think of the business capacities of local authorities, we will never make an equal mark. But I see the great potential of cooperation between the Ministry of Digitalization, technical universities in Poland, and local authorities. This is the way where many colleagues face various problems that the minister mentioned. Algorithm, Polish information, if AI must work properly, it must receive precise information. If it gets information from the US, it won't work in here. Professor Kubiak, I like my colleague because he exhausts every topic, and see who visited the US. Very much so. Well, I opt from implementation. Let's implement it, use it. Let's go this way. There is nothing else I could add. But there are some issues. We have the funds, ways to look for money. We know that we need money, big money, that we need money for micro grants, that you need money to get out, to reach the US, because if you sell there, you sell everywhere in the world. Professor, can you see the potential at your university? if there are money and opportunities, we can have another unicorn from Łódź. At home, yes, I can see this huge potential. I can see it at my university for implementation. We don't need to sell it to the US. We can sell it east of us to the very ocean. Then let them come and buy it from us.
You know, that's a courageous statement. If we find it difficult to push it to the west, we can push it to the east. We've got a moment or so. If there are any questions from the audience, please proceed to the front.
Dziękuję. Dzień dobry. Moje nazwisko Kubiak Michał. Bez relacji z panem profesorem, zdaje się, ale...
Good afternoon. I'm Michał Kubiak, represent Łódź University of Technology. I would like to ask you about hazards related to AI. Experts often refer to this topic, argue on short-term hazards such as labor market shock or disinformation potential, but there are also far-fetched civilization hazards. My question is, you mentioned some problems with mobilizing the capital and solutions. Poland should specialize in safety issues because there are plenty of low-hanging fruits that can help us stand out. We can sell it to the West because global corporations will need such solutions. Othman confessed that regulatory issues are significant for him. He signed one of the letters identifying hazards of AI. So let's start with our representatives of academia. Okay, Warsaw first. As far as hazards related to artificial intelligence are concerned, I would like to differentiate between two things. We often assign the hazard to technology, and I think it should be assigned to application. It is about generating personal data and using personal data. They can be stored in a file, in cloud, and you can counteract their misuse, for instance, through such regulation as GDPR. And the same applies to hazards related to artificial intelligence. It is not about impacting technology, but impacting the application. This is how regulations function. Since it was possible for GDPR, it can be possible for AI. You mentioned two types of hazards. Okay, so the second one is technological. Over to you. We've got great electric mowers that know how to mow the grass. Don't we have gardeners? We do have. They simply do not perform activities which are repeated. Steam machine 200 years ago also raised concerns. And we have more people in the world, and people do their jobs. It's only a matter of providing people with skills other than turning the screw with their left hand. For 10 years, we have had new jobs, and my children will definitely have jobs that I cannot think of. This is not about controlling artificial intelligence, because we cannot control it today. I compare artificial intelligence to a hammer. I teach IT to my students, and I always say, a hammer, you can hit your finger, you can lose a hammer, you can do something else, and another one will make a sculpture using a hammer. ignoring a hammer. I don't know how to drive a nail without a hammer. You can use a stone equally well, but we have had GPT chat for 6 months and nothing happened. Optimization systems helping us calculate a parameter that we couldn't calculate previously happened in the 1960s, and now our computers are faster, and this is not a new solution. The minister? Sorry, but the speaker is not using the microphone, and it's out of the audible scope in the interpreter's booth. Sorry for the inconvenience. The question to those of you who couldn't hear, whether we should expect any hazards related to huge amounts of data and controlling them. I have a different opinion than that expressed by the professor. Technology can be background for transforming human behavior. If you had some evil ideas and you wanted to use paper files, there were some things you couldn't do. Nowadays, using database containing millions or billions of records, this is something that everybody can do. And this is the transformation offered by technology. Honestly speaking, I wouldn't feel very much secure and safe about it. The best way to avoid the hazards is to have people in Poland who understand what can be done, and this way they can set the limit that we can't see if you're not involved in it on a daily basis. Honestly speaking, I'm quite skeptical about AI, its revolution. Since you mentioned we have had it since 1960s. The GPT chat is the moment when something that was obvious for the academia has become public, and now everybody understands. If you want to use AI in practice, enter the website, type the prompt, and there you have it. Coming back to the example with the hammer, please imagine that everybody gets a hammer. Children have their own hammers. This is a lightweight hammer, but you just hit slightly and you can do a lot of harm and injure somebody seriously. This is what we've been observing. It might turn out that although it uses like something that we use for driving nails, can be used for other purposes. In order to handle this world, we need to combine business, science, public administration, who understand it. And there must be somebody who presses the brake. What stops a doctor? What prevents them from transplanting a swine kidney? There are some situations where you could do something, but still you don't because of some soft limits. In order to observe the limits, you need to understand it very well. You need to have the moral compass and know when to say yes and when to say no. So the certification center is a good idea. If your vision of bringing together all universities comes true, you deserve a state award. Yes, so the memorandum has been signed. We're only waiting for the Marshal's decision. It's time to wrap up our discussion. We were talking about the impact on regional development at different levels. This is the regional level and development of science, showing there is huge potential and opportunities not only at universities but also in municipalities and communes when people know and understand what it's all about. And there are great ideas to bring people together. Summing up what the minister said, AI won't handle without human, without morality. That will be the break. Thank you very much.